Hey there, it's Irene Lyon. Welcome to this video, to this YouTube channel, and to this world of healing trauma, nervous system health, and all things neuroplasticity. I have been wanting to make the video that you are going to see today for a long time. I've done versions of it, but this one is very specific. And I was primed for two reasons. One is we're in a current situation in the world. I'm dating this, it's 2020. I'm recording this at the end of March. You probably will see this fresh in April. And we are under what's called a current global crisis, a pandemic. There is a virus called the coronavirus that is very contagious. It's creating a lot of intense stress in the world. And because of that, a lot of lockdown procedures are making it such that kids aren't going to school anymore. And this is a huge deal, especially for parents who, many parents aren't working, so they're at home with their kids. And many parents don't know what to do with their children when they are at home 24/7, 7 days a week. So that's one reason why I'm making this video, because there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of frustrations, and no doubt a lot of stored up energy that is flying around the walls of homes, and a lot of people don't know what to do with it. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks today. The other thing that prompted and primed me to record this now is earlier today I was watching a live stream, not in the health world, but someone that I listen to and watch quite regularly, maybe daily actually. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a businessman, a CEO, and quite a social entrepreneur, let's just call him that. And he does a lot of talking with people. And he was doing a live stream and he was talking to a mom whose kids are home. And he said something along the lines of this.
Go to fucking school. I'm going crazy.
I know, everybody's so pissed. Every parent secretly wants to punch their kid in the face right now. They're like, parents have never loved school more. They're like, fuck it, I'm never complaining about school again.
So it might seem a bit bold for someone to say, yeah, you just want to punch your kids in the face. And he's accurate. And the thing is, and I know this from doing the trauma work I do and working with parents, adult humans that are older who may have lived in a situation where mom and dad actually did punch them in the face, where there was real physical abuse, also verbal abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, attacks at a child's psyche and safety. So this is real, and this has been happening way before the current situation we're in now. So I wanted to speak to that because I'll speak to my friends who have little ones and they will say, all I want to do is strangle their necks. All I want to do is throw them off the balcony. We know that there are cases of mothers who smother their babies because they don't know how to stop them from crying. This is a real thing. So this is serious. And we have to understand that when there is that urge, when there is that desire to act out that kind of behavior, it's actually quite accurate. Of course, as human beings who have this higher brain, we can pause and see that we're about to do that and stop that action, stop that behavior, and not harm another person, etc. However, the thing that we have to understand is the energy, the survival energy that is underlying that is real. And if we pause that behavior, and if we do only the act of taking a deep breath and calming ourselves down, that energy doesn't get expressed. It doesn't get out of the system. And we know through research, through various sources, that if you've been following me for a while, you know this. When we store and trap our survival energy, in this case, it would be that fight energy, right? There's fight, flight, and flee. When we store that fight energy, that desire to hit, that desire to strangle, that desire to smack, when we don't get that out, it goes back into our system and it goes somewhere else and it creates other problems. This is where mental health issues come in, where physical ailments can come in, symptoms, pain, headaches, digestive issues. So all that to say, if you are someone, and you don't have to be a parent, it could be your spouse that's driving you crazy because you're used to being home alone and now they're home all the time, right? And there's this desire to just want to shake them and say, shut up or stop or leave me alone. That energy has to get out. For kids, they're too young to have that adult time communication where, let's say, if my husband was driving me crazy and I needed space, I would communicate it. I would say, I might, stomp my feet and go, I'm so frustrated. I just want some alone time, and get that out. He would understand because we work on the same wavelength. We understand the importance of getting emotion out, these big energies. But a little person, they rely on us for safety. They rely on us for guidance. And if we scare them by getting that emotion out in front of them, let's just say we feel that desire to hit, to smack, to strangle, and we actually don't do it to them, which I hope that is the case. But let's say we're feeling it and they're standing right there and we just go, we just scream, or we pretend we're strangling something in front of them. That's going to scare them too. So I've got 3 things here in front of me. They're tools, if you will. This is what I would teach my clients in private practice. I teach this to my students in group online. So I want to show you some very simple ways that if you're feeling this fight energy because of this strain we are all in right now, and like I said, it isn't just now, this has always been happening, you can use these tools. So one is a good old towel. This is just a bath towel that I've rolled up. Another, this is an exercise piece of equipment. It's called a TheraBand. It's very thick, like silicone or plastic, and it can bend. So that's one thing. And I'll put some links to how you can find those in the show more section. This is a good old-fashioned meditation cushion. It's what you would sit on to meditate. However, I use it for different reasons. So let's just say there's this desire to smack, to hit, to strangle. And usually it is those things. Our hands are what protects us, right? If you think about a bear, a mama bear protecting her cubs, she'll use her sound, she'll growl, she'll hiss, she'll approach, but she'll smack, she'll bite. But usually it comes with the hands. And this is why when someone is in a rage, there's often screaming, but very rarely is there, someone trying to run into someone. Usually it happens with the arms. As humans, these are our protection boundary mechanisms. Not only do they feed us, bathe us, they help us dress, they help us communicate, but they also help us fight and get energy out. So if we think of this towel here, we want to find a way to have a towel that is thick enough that we can grasp and that we can squeeze really hard. So as we feel, so I'll give you an example of how this would work, because I'm not pissed off right now at anybody. I'm quite happy and good. But if I was to just stand here and growl and squeeze this, but without that energy in my body, it's not going to do a damn thing. So there needs to be a matching of that boiling heat in your body, that energy, that desire to smack and strangle. And then at that moment, that's where we put it out into this inanimate object, right? So we're not going to hurt anybody. We're not going to hurt ourselves by storing the emotion in or self-harming. This is something that people also do. They know they don't want to harm another person, so they get the energy out on themselves. This is a way to get that energy out. Towel, squeeze, growl, hiss, whatever you need to do. Keep breathing, keep connecting. I'll give you some tips as to how we want to do this so that it is not cathartic and it doesn't integrate, because there is a way. So it's very important that you watch this to the end. We don't want to just get this out and disconnect from what we're doing and our feelings and the world around us. If we do, it becomes cathartic and we bypass the real medicine of getting this anger out. So that's the towel trick. Got an article too that my husband actually wrote that I'll post in the show more, where it describes this a little more step by step. This thing is beautiful because it's a little more compact and you can actually grip it a little bit more. And it's very strong, and you can twist and you can twist and you can bend. So again, this is another thing that you can use. But like I said, with the towel, it needs to be authentic. There needs to be that raw human emotion, and then you get it out. Okay, that's another thing. Next thing is the Zafu. So this guy is big and thick, and it can be hit. So my hands aren't big enough to squeeze this, But if there's a desire to hit, to strike, this is great for that. And you don't want to hurt your wrist. You don't want, I mean, if you know how to punch and box, you know that there's a way to do that. If you don't know how to do that, use the flat part of your forearm. So you can take this, and it's best if you have this on the ground or if someone actually holds it for you. So if you have a partner or a friend, they can hold it. But you take your forearm and you hit like that. If it's on the ground, you can hammer at it with both hands and really get the body into that. But again, it's not to just do it for the sake of hitting, because if you just hit and hit without any emotion, nothing's going to happen. So there has to be that internal fire, that internal energy wanting to get out, out, out. Okay, so those are 3 tools: towel, the TheraBand, and the Zafu pillow. I actually really like the Zafu pillow because it's soft, but it's still compact, and you can really put a lot of force in there and it doesn't hurt, won't harm you. Okay, there are some ground rules here. So let's just say this is a situation where you are frustrated with the little ones. Very important to not do this release in front of them. You want to wait till they are out of sight where they can't hear you. Maybe if you have a garage, maybe you go into the bathroom, you turn the water on, you turn some music on, you go into your car, store a towel in your car. You want to do this away from them, because if they see this rage come out, they're not going to understand. You have to remember, with kids and even young teenagers, they're emotionally immature and they don't get it. And if the reason why you have got the frustration and rage is because of them, that's not their fault. That really isn't their fault. It's our lack of practice. It's our lack of being able to hold a lot of capacity, emotional capacity, and this energy. And I'm going to give you one piece to really think about, if you were brought up in a household where exuberance and energy wasn't allowed and it was in some ways slapped down and depressed, as a human being adult, we won't have the capacity to hold their big energy. And this is where a lot of parents, they'll lose their temper quickly because they don't know how to hold that high level intensity and emotional energy that is a child. So we have to really put our big people hats on, be the adults, be the mature emotional animal in this situation, recognize that they really are innocent. They have no choice. They have to be at home. They can't go to school, right? They might not even be able to go and play outside with friends, which is probably the case. So be kind to them, be gentle, take a deep breath when you feel that desire to hit, and then move away from the situation, go somewhere private. Of course, if you have a partner, this is where you have to talk about this with them so they know what you're doing. But remove yourself, feel that energy. I can guarantee you will get it back if you put yourself into that scenario, right? And I'll explain that as a side note. Many, many, many of my clients, they resolve trauma that occurred long time ago. Years ago, decades ago, for some even in utero when they were in mama's belly. So we don't have to have the exact moment in time to get that release out. We can go away in private even that night or the next day and feel into the memory of that frustration, of that rage, of the blood boiling. This is the beauty of our brain and our mind. It can go back to those memories. And then when you feel that little spark, that flint ignites, that's where you get the towel, the Zafu, the TheraBand, and then you bring it out. But you've got to reconnect to that energy, because if you don't, it'll just be the act of moving and releasing muscle tension. And while that might feel good and it'll give us a little bit of an endorphin rush, it isn't resolving that fight energy that you want to get out. Because if we don't get it out, we're more likely to snap at another time. So to reel this back, I wanted to, again, as a review, do this video because I've been wanting to do it for a while. We get a lot of questions around how to handle anger, how to handle rage. even this desire to hurt and harm. People are very honest with me about the things that pop up, and it's all real. It's all very real stuff, and it's because we are a human being. We still have the biology of an animal because we're animals, but we also have this higher brain that knows it's not right to do that. And most of us don't. Most of us aren't convicted criminals in prison, right? We know that it's not right to hit and harm other people. And it isn't enough to just take a deep breath and walk away. You gotta get that energy out. If you don't get it out, it's gonna go back into the system, fester, and that's what makes us sick. So again, tools, use them, practice, educate your partners, your family, not the kids, but the big people in your household around this topic, especially in times of high stress like now. And as I said, this has been something that human beings have been dealing with way before this time. We have been feeling these energies since the beginning of time. It is in our biology, it is in our DNA, and we have to stop pretending that it isn't there and trying to just calm this down with gentle meditations and mindfulness and breath. It's not enough. We have to honor our animal impulses, these energies. If anything, do it for the kids. They're innocent right now. They should not be harmed. We need to be responsible for this. So thank you for listening to this. Check out this show more section. I will have some of these tools there. Of course, you know how to find a towel. I'll put up some other articles on anger, and be good to your people, be good to yourselves, and really honor your biology. I will leave it at that. Thank you so much for being here, watching this video, learning. Let me know how it goes. Post in the comments below. Check out the links, the resources, and we will see you next time.